All right, you're live.
Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Doctor's Call with Dr. Kurt Fisnick. This is Andrea from Michigan. Normally, every Tuesday at noon we have a doctor's call, and I wait until the end to discuss the company that many of us work with, and it's called Sizzle International. I wanted to bring it up first this week because I wanted just to make a statement that, Sizzle is dedicated to looking into science that can help slow down or reverse the hands of time. And today we're talking about what some may think is a hidden secret: telomeres and telomerase. Two terms that don't easily roll off our tongues in common conversation. So Dr. Kurt Fisnick, today we're going to let you introduce these terms, explain what they are, how they can help us with our health. So welcome to the call.
Hey, thanks, Andrea. Thanks for being here each and every week and hosting the call. And I know, when you think about it, you could be out doing lots of different things this morning. You could be out enjoying the weather before winter comes, things like that. And so it's always fun to have you here and share your information with us. Telomeres are something that most people haven't really heard about, or if they have heard the word, they really don't understand exactly what it is. And so I'm just gonna kind of explain it in a way that I want you to be able to visually see it in your mind. I want you to be able to explain it, have a way of explaining it to other people so that they can understand it as well. So telomeres are it's called a nucleotide, and basically years ago they used to think that all this stuff besides the chromosome was just garbage. They thought that it's not important stuff. It was just kind of a rat's nest. I remember hearing that description of it, that it was a rat's nest. But what they found is that these nucleotides called telomeres, what they actually are is they're the protection on the DNA, the chromosome. And what they do is, if you remember your high school biology or college biology, you see these two strands that are wound together. And what happens is that the telomere protects the chromosome from unwinding. And when you're first conceived, you have a lot of these. You have about 30,000 of these nucleotides, and by the time you're born, you've already used up 10,000 of the nucleotides. You've used up a third of your telomere just forming you inside the womb. And so you've used up a third of your telomeres. And then throughout your life, every time a cell divides, it uses up a piece of that telomere. So think of it kind of like the plastic deal on the end of your shoelace. And when that plastic thing falls off your shoelace starts to unravel. But let's go one step further, and let's just say that every time you tie your shoes, you take a pair of scissors and you cut a little bit of your shoelace off. And so every time you tie your shoe, you cut a little piece off, pretty soon your shoelace is going to be so short you can't tie it. Well, that's kind of what happens with telomeres. Every time your cells divide, a little piece of it gets clipped off, and pretty soon there's just not enough there to tie everything together. Andrea, can you visualize that? Can you see that?
Yes, I certainly can.
Okay, great. And so now we've entered this age of this new science. In the last really 20 years, we've made just these great strides in anti-aging, and we've learned a lot. And one of the things that we've learned is that you can take and you can rebuild the telomeres. You can put more shoelace on the end of your shoelace. So imagine I'm sitting here and I'm clipping it off with the scissors and you're adding shoelace back on. You're tying more lace back onto the shoelace. Does that make sense?
Does to me.
Okay. And so that's what the new science has shown. And there's certain things that you can do that will improve that. One of them, and probably the most important one, is exercise. They found that if you exercise, you can add length to your telomeres. And a lot of people think, oh man, you mean I got to start going to the gym? Oh, I got to start doing that. Or they think they got to be somebody that goes out jogging. And if you told me I had to go jogging every day, Andrea, I would just go, well, I guess I'm going to die young. I've always hated running. I hate jogging. I love going for walks. And so I do a good fast walk. I take my dog for a 3 to 5 mile walk every single day. And what they found is that if you get 45 minutes of exercise 3 times a week, it's just as good as being a marathon runner. Isn't that exciting?
It is.
Right? So who couldn't do 45 minutes worth of exercise 3 times a week? And you want to get exercise enough that you're sweating, that you can feel it happening, you can feel that you're exercising. And then what they found is that if you want to make it work, and even better, if you want to add some spice to it, you want to add a variety of different kinds of exercises. So you might want to do 10 minutes of walking, then you might want to do 5 minutes jumping up and down. You might want to do 3 minutes of waving your hands way up in the air, maybe throwing a tennis ball for your dog, and just add some variety to it, change it up. And they found that actually makes exercise work better. Isn't that cool?
It is.
Yeah. And then they found that diet is important. And this is interesting, Andrea. They found that diet is actually more important in women than it is in men. What do you think of that?
Well, women are more complicated, so.
But if we want all this equality, well, that's a different story. But whole foods, right? Like you want to eat the whole plant. You don't want to eat just part of it. You want to eat whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and a lot of different whole plant type foods, right? That's really, really important. Again, more important for women than it is for men. They found that smoking cuts down the length of the telomere rather quickly. So if you're a smoker, you want to quit that. Lack of sleep. If you're not getting 7 to 8 hours of good sleep, you're going to speed up the clipping of the telomere. Crazy, huh? Stress will make it go faster. So it's pretty interesting when you look at it. And I've been to a number of these anti-aging seminars. I've actually met a couple of the research scientists, the guys that weren't named on the Nobel Prize, but they were actually the ones back in the lab doing the research. And they said that lifestyle is so important. They even found that meditation is important. You got to take time for meditating and making sure that you're taking some time to relax for yourself. So, how important is telomeres? I want to share a video with you that I think is important. Hang on one second. I'm going to pull this up on the screen. And
have you ever wondered how well you're aging? How effective are your lifestyle and wellness efforts? Are there any unexpected changes ahead? We offer a new, highly accurate test that looks inside your body to reveal how the aging process is affecting you. This is a simple blood test called TAT. That stands for Telomere Analysis Technology Test. What is a telomere? And why should I have them measured? Inside our cells are chromosomes that contain the DNA we inherited from our parents. As we age, cells are constantly duplicating and replacing themselves. Telomeres are the protective caps at the ends of our chromosomes. With aging, the telomeres get shorter with each division. Eventually, the telomeres get so short that the cells stop duplicating. In a nutshell, that's the aging process. There's also an enzyme called Telomerase that works to lengthen the telomeres. Another way to think about telomeres is like the protective ends of shoelaces, nice and tight when they're new and fraying as they age. Telomere length integrates genetic, lifestyle, and environmental factors. Where you live, how you live, and who you are. The TAT test looks at over 100,000 of the telomeres in your blood to determine your cellular or biological age. The TAT test reveals the number of critically short telomeres in your blood sample. And when you have your test year after year, you can see how fast you're aging by the rate of telomere shortening. Short telomeres have consequences. They're linked to heart disease, diabetes, many cancers and other diseases. In many cases, the percentage of short telomeres determines the onset of disease. How many short telomeres do you have? And if your telomeres are short, what can you do about it? Studies have shown that positive lifestyle changes can slow the rate of telomere decline. These include exercise, a diet rich in antioxidants, switching to a Mediterranean diet, certain kinds of supplements such as omega-3s. We even have scientific evidence that practices like meditation and mindfulness can directly affect the health of your telomeres. We can monitor your aging process with annual measurements and together set a course for a healthy future. Armed with the information from your TAT test, together we can make certain that aging is not lost youth, but a new stage of opportunity and strength. Ask us to tell you more about telomeres and the Telomere Analysis Technology Test from LifeLength.
Andrea, were you able to watch that video with me?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So I've met with, anyhow, but it's interesting, isn't it? You can actually measure your telomeres.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And I'm working with Stephen, the owner of the company, and we're going to get a special price for anybody in Sizzle that they'll be able to have this test run at a decreased price compared to what other people will be able to get the test run for.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I thought it was. And so, you know, when we look at telomeres, it's just so important, you know. A good study that they did, they took 100,000 people, right? 100,000 people. That's a good base for a study, wouldn't you say?
I would think so, yes, definitely.
Yeah. And they adjusted it for smoking and drinking and amount of education and things like that. And what they really found is that it's exactly what we're saying, is that if you have a shorter than average telomere length, your risk of dying goes up. And Andrea, ask me this question. How much does it actually affect you?
Doctor, how much does it actually affect you?
Good question. I'm glad you asked that, right? So they found that of the 100,000 people that were in the study, that 10% actually had shorter than average telomeres. And so they found that they had almost a 25% increased risk of dying earlier when compared to people who just had the average telomere length.
Well, makes sense after discussing the things you just discussed about oxidative stress and toxins in the system and all of that, what people expose themselves to.
Yeah. And one of the things that people bring up to me, I've had doctors even ask me this question, doctors that have learned a little bit about, they know the word telomere, and so they think they're experts because they know the word telomere. And they'll tell me, yeah, but if you increase the length of the telomeres, won't you, inadvertently, won't you make cancer worse?
Well,
And
I just read a thing about that, or watched a video on that this morning.
did you really?
Yeah, and actually they stated that, the cancer cell never dies, and it's because as it mutates, it increases its own telomerase. But by increasing telomerase, it has absolutely no effect on the cancer cell because it already has enough telomerase.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. You just stole the words right out of my mouth. Is
How about
that, yeah, that the cancer cells are already immortal. So
Right.
how do you make a cancer cell more immortal? Well, you don't. They're already immortal. Like Andrea just said, they've already got the increased telomerase. So what you do is you boost and you support the telomeres of your other cells. And so what they're able to do with that TAT test is they're able to tell you how your telomeres are compared to the average person. So why do I think this is so important? Well, let's say that you've got two 60-year-old people, and they're going in and they're getting treatment for cancer. Let's say cancer, okay? And normally, wouldn't you say that most people that go in for a medication, don't they have to kind of use one or two or three different medications before they find the right one?
Yes.
And that's because they're guessing on the aggressiveness and that. So what if they knew that one of the 60-year-olds in this particular conversation, one of the 60-year-olds had shorter than average telomeres? Wouldn't it be important to know that, because now you can actually get more aggressive with that person, with their treatment?
Yes. Well, I guess in my opinion, I would do other things to help
Right.
them other than medication and being aggressive with medication. But yeah, it would
Well,
be
whether
a big
it's,
benefit. So why isn't it something they normally test for, right?
yeah, whether you're using medication or you're doing another approach, but wouldn't it tell you that you need to be more aggressive than, say, the person that has long telomeres,
Yes.
right? And so that's what they're really studying. That's what they're trying. That's what they're finding. So when you have a decreased telomerase, it speeds up the clipping of the nucleotides of the telomere. It cuts off the end of the shoelace faster.
Mm.
And so if we can support your body system to rebuild this, then wouldn't it make more sense that all of a sudden you're going to have everything that you need?
Well, a start for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, in the next few minutes, we're getting close to the bottom of the hour and things like that. We've talked about exercise, right?
Mhm.
And so if you go to the gym, and I remember, when my middle boy, when Sammy went to, when he was just going to pre-med, he's in fourth year medical now, but when he was in pre-med, we were talking about telomeres, and he said, yeah, Dad, he said, I mean, you realize that exercise is the most important thing. And I said, yeah. I said, it's really, really important. But what happens to a person, and this is something that we learned after we brought up the RIP product and then soon to come out 10X product that Tom's formulated. But what's the problem with exercise?
People don't do it.
Well, not only that, but if all of a sudden here you are and you started going to the gym and working out a bunch, are you going to respond the same as your daughters do or your son?
Oh, no, because I have less of everything at my age.
Right. You have less of everything, but you also, according to physiology, you don't respond to exercise like you did when you were in your 20s and 30s.
Right.
So at 40, you're not going to respond like you did 20 years ago when you were 20.
Correct.
And so that's why a product like Ripped is so important, because Ripped and 10X are going to make us so that we respond. And so really, if we're talking about products that's going to support your telomeres, we have to add Ripped into it, right?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay. So then we talk about food. And we say that, oh, you got to eat this, you got to eat that. On the video, they talked about omegas. They talked about vitamins and minerals and things like that. Can you go to the store and just buy healthy food?
Not very much.
No. And why is that?
Supplementation is really the answer.
Yeah. Harvard came out with a study a number of years ago, and they said it's prudent for every single person on the planet to take a good, high-quality multivitamin. Why do we need that?
Because the nutrients are no longer in our soil, so therefore they're no longer in our plants or in the plants that the animals eat.
Exactly. So when we're talking about telomeres, we need to start looking at products like Encompass 360. We need to add products like SpectrumX, right?
Yeah, I was watching a video by Tom, and actually some of the same pigmented fruits and vegetable extracts that are in SpectrumX to fight fight oxidation have been included in the TSX product.
You got it. Then we look at stress. People say, well, you got to reduce the stress in order to increase the length and support your telomeres. What product do we have with Sizzle that helps your body deal with stress? Are you there?
I'm here. Okay, you got me. Which one?
Well, the answer should have been probably all of them, right? Because we got to look at a couple of things. There's really three kinds of stress when we talk about stress. There's chemical stress, right, from toxins and toxicity, right, things like that. So things like Super Detox, great product. Then we got to take a look at Body Shield, because Body Shield not only pulls because of the fulvic acid, the fulvates, they pull out the toxins, but they also pull nutrition into the cell. So those are two really good products. That's going to help with chemical stress. Fucoidan is going to help with chemical stress. Then we have physical stress, and physical stress is like, arthritis and things like that. So Renovator is a great product for dealing with physical stress. It rebuilds the joints. And we can look at Eternity because of the SIRT1 gene. It actually helps with repair by repairing damaged DNA. And so Eternity is a great product when you're talking about physical stress. But when you're talking about emotional stress, which is what most people think about when I talk about stress, chaga. And where do we find chaga? Well, we find chaga in our sencha green tea, which is going to be back on the shelf here. If it's not now, it will be in a short while, bringing it back out. And then also, it's found in our coffee. We've got chaga in our coffee. And then we also have chaga in high amounts in the Avenger product. So I always tell people, if you don't like tea and you don't like coffee, we've got Avenger. But I like Avenger because it's got a lot of other things in it as well to boost the immune system. And they're finding that, not only does the bacterium that causes Lyme emit this biofilm, they're finding that all sorts of bacteria and viruses and funguses, some scientists actually say all of them, produce this biofilm. And what is a biofilm? Well, without getting into in depth, just think of it like camouflage, right? When I go hunting and I'm sitting in a tree and I want to hide from the deer so that they get close enough so I can get them with my bow and arrow, I put on clothing that makes me look like part of the tree. You know, I'm a big blob in the top of the tree, but I still look like part of the tree, and so that's what biofilm is. And so with chaga, we've got an ingredient in there that will help with removing that biofilm, and it's in a high enough quantity in the product that it's actually going to remove the biofilm effectively. And so chaga helps with getting rid of stress and helping your adrenal glands handle stress better. It actually has been used over in the Far East. The Russians actually wrote a study on it talking about how it helps the body deal with stress better. So really, really important there. And so then we come to the product that's on your screen right now. It's called TSX, Telomere Support Extreme. The gold standard for nutritional extracts that support telomeres are a couple of extracts that come from a plant called astragalus. And astragalus is a plant that comes from over in China, and the ancient Chinese knew a lot about this, the yellow emperor and that. They didn't know exactly what it was. They didn't know what extract. But Andrea, can you imagine how much astragalus do you have to have just to get a kilo of the active ingredient that's found in TSX?
Well, I have no idea what a kilo is, but I heard 800 pounds of astragalus to create 2 pounds of usable product.
It's actually more than that, 12,000 pounds of astragalus to yield 1 kilo, and a kilo is 2.4 pounds.
There you go.
Right, 12,000 pounds. So you have to take an elephant-size amount of astragalus to get just the amount of 2 pounds, the size of a small brick. Crazy. You know what that costs?
I don't, but I would imagine quite a bit.
$84,000 per kilo.
Wow.
We put the highest amount of that extract. It's called a cycloastragalonol. We put the highest amount in our product than any other product that's on the planet. When I compare it to the next best product on the market, we put in over twice as much, close to 3 times as much as what they put in their product, and they charge 3 times as much for their product. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. And, and then we have an award-winning formulator who not only puts like that particular substance in, but he's well known worldwide for his formulations where he uses science and makes formulations using products that have a synergy about them. And I also heard that he had a patented delivery system for the TSX.
Yep, so we have that. We have the delivery system, but we've also added other extracts in addition to the cycloastragalonol. We add another astragaloside that costs $42,000 per kilo. And then on top of it, we've added some things like resveratrol, and we've added the curcuminoids, and we've added some bacapicides, right, from Bacapa. And Bacapa is kind of like one company calls it kind of their B product, right? Their B product. Why is it not an A product? Well, partly it starts with the letter B, but it's also a B product because it's not quite as good as the A, right? And so the bacapicides just to show you the difference in the amount, is that they only sell for about $500 per kilo, right? So that kind of tells you, I mean, it's like saying, okay, well, you drive a Ford and I drive a Porsche. The Porsche is quite a bit more expensive than the Ford, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's, supposedly a better car. I don't know. I don't have a Porsche, but I'm just saying, right? So I guess when I'm talking about supporting telomeres, I look at all the different things. You don't want to just say, well, here you go, Andrea, take TSX. Right?
Yeah, well, knowledge helps you understand the importance of things.
Right? Because, again, at our age, we don't respond to exercise like we should. So therefore, we need a product like RIPT or 10X to make it so that our body responds to exercise. And exercise is so important in supporting telomeres. We know that diet is really, really important in supporting telomeres. Well, we can't get our nutrition from our diet. So just like Harvard says, if you're smart about it, you're going to take a supplement. Well, if you're going to take a supplement, wouldn't you rather take a good supplement? Well, that's where Sizzle comes in with the supplements that we have, right? And then stress. Every day we're dealt a lot of stress. If you're paying attention to anything, that's happening, not just in America, but in the world, I think the world is trying to make us more stressed out in some of the things that they make us think about all the time. Top of mind awareness, they're creating a stressful world, right?
Right.
And so here we have a product, it's coffee. You can drink your stress away. And we've got testimonials. I'll go look for somebody that'll give that testimonial this coming Friday on our Sizzle World Team training call to do that. Anyhow, Andrea, it's the bottom of the hour. It's a couple minutes past. Everyone, thanks for being here with us today. I enjoy doing these calls. I have a lot of fun with it. We're gonna add a special feature next week. We're gonna be able to do these calls live on Facebook. We're going to do them live on social media. What do you think of that, Andrea?
I think I won't be doing it in my underwear anymore.
Well, we might get more listeners.
No, I don't think so.
All right. I'm going to hand it over to you and let you close out the call. Thanks again, everyone, for paying attention to this and listening. And join us every week. Thank you. Over to you, Andrea.
Yes, and thank you, Doc, for taking the time to share this information with us today. And we do hope that you decide to join us each and every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time to tune in to the Doctor's Call, learn about health topics, health situations, and possible solutions for you. Get back with the person who invited you to the call or where you saw the information shared, and they can help you with any further information you need. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.